You had a nice lengthy career in the NFL. Just talk about your experience there. Again, you're in the NFL, 76 total tackles, 5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble for Langston Moore. But your NFL experience, what was that like for you?
It was a blessing. I always joke with people and tell them, man, I was fortunate enough to play for 7 years till they figured out I couldn't play. They messed around and scouted me and said I could play. And then after about 7 years, somebody was like, man, this dude don't play, man. Get him up out of here. But it was an extreme blessing. I played for some of the greatest, defensive minds, Marvin Lewis. Just tons of guys there. Leslie Frazier was on that staff. I can go on and on. Obviously, when I went out to Arizona, there was the great Denny Green and a whole bunch of players. And I've always been around all pros. One of my favorite stops was obviously in Detroit when I got to play for Rod Marinelli. He was the head coach, but also served as the defensive line coach. You rarely ever see a head coach want to be a position coach, but that just shows you how crazy he was. But Rod was, one of the cogs of that Tampa Bay teams, those Tampa Bay franchises, and he's still out there coaching with the Raiders, I think. And he's one of those dudes who probably die on the football field. But I just was blessed to have a bunch of phenomenal teachers. And, football is going to be what football is going to be. And yes, I would have loved to have a 10-year career. And, I always had goals to have double-digit sacks and to do a whole bunch of different things. But, for me, it was just great to have the opportunity to struggle, to make those teams, to start, to just kind of have the full spectrum for me, from being a practice guy, being called up, turning down offers. Yes, I would like to have 10 more contracts and make $100 million, but at the end of the day, it's just been really cool to be a part of that. I always tell guys, football, yes, it is a cutthroat business, but, it's no different than college. When I say college football, if you came out of college athletics, that's maybe not a Fortune 500 business, but something close. But if you play for one of the 32 NFL teams that is a Fortune 500 business, you really get to see how the intricacies and those things work. And you get to see how important really culture is, even though there's 32 teams and they're all billionaires and they all own it. Everybody runs their household differently. You see this with the Steelers. You see this also with the Cowboys. You see this with the Lions and the Cardinals. There's a reason why the Lions are who the Lions are, usually because they're doing the same things over and over again culturally within. Now they're trying to change it a little bit. But again, a lot of times it really starts with taking a whole cultural change from the top down, because you can't just change the head coach, but still operating under the same auspices in the front offices and doing different things and free agency. Who you are is who you are. And eventually that's going to show itself to the public. So I always say, man, it was great for me as a 20-year-old with so many different things going on, because one, nobody cares. I always remember, my mom passed away on September 11th, the first opening game, my second year in the NFL. So I'm playing, all these things happens. We're traveling. So the word gets out, all those different things. But, I call Coach Lewis after the game is over. I'm like, yo, I got to, go home and, have the funeral and do all these different things. And he's like, all right, when you going to be back? Like Tuesday, Wednesday? I'm like, damn, I thought you was going to give me like 2 weeks off, bereavement pay or something. It's like, nah. Bring your ass back here Wednesday morning for practice after that funeral. And so that's the thing with life is tough, and I get it. That would have been a perfect excuse for me to kind of wallow around the house, but I needed to be out there playing football at that time after my mom passed away from cancer, because that was my therapy at that time. To let me go bump some people, let me get bumped around, let me get cursed out, and give me some normalcy, give me a little bit of system. And that's what football does for a lot of us. It gives us an outlet to move physically. It gives us structure, gives us guys to work for, to serve for. And that's what really is the scary part. When we don't have football anymore, we're losing a lot of those things. So that's where guys really have to get involved. That's why I'm really proud of my old teammates, because they do a great job of getting involved and trying to make sure they break the stigma and don't allow kind of like the depression, all those different things to creep up, because that is a real deal. And it is really tough, no different than, if the Spurs Up Show just got taken away from you, you probably would be able to, go and do something different. But you almost got 500 episodes, man. This has been a big part of you for a long time, and there's going to feel like a loss. It's the same way when it comes with footballs, and guys have to figure out different ways to, figure out a way to fill that hole for themselves.